Hi, gamers. We have faced a setback. My mic equipment is not set up, and I don't really want to do that. I kind of just want to talk. Um, I realized I could have possibly considered making more specific topics to talk about instead of just rolling off tangents, which, I mean, I will still do anyway, but um I don't know, maybe there will be more sense of structure, which I think people will appreciate. I say as 2 viewers left. It's okay. Someone will come back, I think. I've been thinking a lot in rhymes, like all day. Um, so I wrote them down, and now it's poetry. The world we're coming to is not the world from which we came. Notice the new, let it speak their name. Identify what's old and unshift the blame. Change all that has been the same. For something seemingly gone insane might be just what we need. See, I couldn't finish that thought without needing to rhyme it. I was gonna say, might be just what we need to be free. I can't make sense of that because it doesn't rhyme, so. Well, how about this? Adult phone calls. Making your own phone calls for. Oh god. No, I'm already getting stressed out thinking about that. We're gonna need a different topic. Valentine's Day, I suppose. That's topical. Sunday, February 14th, 2021. Valentine's Day. It's just a day to remind yourself about love. And yet, love is so shallow to most people, they forget the depth of what it takes to love. Maybe I'm making things more complex than they need to be. Maybe it is exactly how complex, or maybe even more complex, than the way I see it. There's this thing about being in love that's so ambiguous and vague and shoved in our face. And I want to divorce the rest of the world's idea of love from my meaning of it. I kind of already did. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. I'm still trying to figure out how to do that with, like, I don't know, anything else in my life that may possibly need to be acted on before I can ask for permission. Adulthood, grocery shopping. I don't know, life experiences, human sensory experiences. I don't know. It's a lot of a lot. It's a lot of a lot today. I thought I was collecting taxes from my last job, but I'm not. I just got my W-2 form and I'm not collecting anything, so that was pretty cool of you, economy. I don't even know what I'm talking to anymore. This vague, abstract idea we've all committed to believing in. I don't believe in it. Oh my god, that's one thing. People's attachment to the material world is disgusting and I want no part in it. But I have to contribute to it if I want to change it. Oh, that is so sickening. And that's, another asset of the human condition. Oh my lord. Can't I just be alien? No, that would be too easy. That would also be way too harsh. It's it's like they gave me a brain and put me in a box and said, use your brain, but use it outside of this box. But this box is all that's keeping you safe. But you're paying for it also. But only after your parents die of stress from all the money it costs to put you in this box. There's probably a much nicer way to think about it, but that's the way I see it. And it's kind of heaven is a place on earth and hell is the condition we live in. I'm gonna get a different notebook. Please hold. Okay. Earlier today, I think in the morning, almost as soon as I woke up, I wrote, I understand financial security means a lot to people who are concerned with the material society. It's the one thing in my reality that is certain, and it's the one thing I wish I didn't contribute to. Humans have created this religion based off money. It's not inherently evil. It's just so very complicated and complex and beyond me. And again, I want no part in it, but I'm already a part of it and I'm already contributing to it. And I don't know what to do about it. Except like to eventually learn the game, turn it inside out, do the hokey pokey, and I don't know. Fact is, though, the material reality is a necessity. And yet enough of the world lives without basic necessities. Because, question mark, I don't know why that has to be true. Or maybe I could conceive a possible reason as to why that must be true. But it doesn't mean it will make any sense. This is frustrating to me. And I would be angry if I believed that that would do anything. I'm no victim or martyr. I'm just so fucking tired. Change. Lasting change. maybe even more of a necessity. I think even that has something to do with love. I don't think the collective world is making enough decisions based on love. Maybe on the idea of it, you know, the part of it that you can capitalize off of. And it's so twisted, the way I see it. I mean, tomorrow I could wake up and see another completely different point of view and appreciate it just the same as I do with this, and still acknowledge that what I'm saying now is also true. I will talk about greater change, live in it as if it is home, create it internally every day, repurpose the same old into a new kind of change, the currently inconceivable kind of change. And that requires us to commit to the impossible. And I do think that we can do it. But just because we can do something doesn't mean that we will. It's all a matter of the right people backing up the right idea for the right reasons and sticking to it. Organization and commitment to that. That's something I would love to do. And I have no idea how to do it. And I'm scared for that. I don't want to ever have to be afraid for my dad's health because he is afraid of the ramifications of mine. I guess I could be more specific. If you're someone who's ever looked for help and received what others call help, but never received what you need help with, you begin to feel low, to say the very least. When you feel low, you're willing to do anything. And I'm terrified of most everything. Beyond anything. Beyond the first two anythings, I don't want to know what could happen. It is terrifying. It's a concept beyond my scope of understanding, and I don't want to understand it. It's not for me to pick apart. It couldn't be for me, because it's not what came to mind in the first two. The first two, anythings that I turned to were harming myself. Well, that was the first one. I mean, harming myself in a very broad sense, emotionally, ideally, physically, but I never could get to that point. Psychologically, just living. Discarding the relationship I keep with myself. You know, it's kind of fucked up how complacent and seemingly pleasant a kid can go through life. Ignoring and denying their own relationship with themselves. And it all just surfaces when you're an adult. And then it's yours to deal with. Okay. I mean, it's not an impossible feat. It's just me, right? And then knowing you becomes deeply profound. And expressing that same feeling to anyone who doesn't want to know themselves is a very lonely feeling. My pen. I require my own love because no one else seems to know what that is. And I'm still learning myself. But I think it has something to do with dipping a toe into my puddle that is, the essence of me, and realizing and accepting in that sequence that this puddle I meant to step in is about to swallow me whole because it's no puddle but the vast, deep, dark sea. And it's not scary unless I make it out to be. You give it some time and you start to see the life in there. Little fishies, the anemones, the manta rays, all the life forms that could possibly exist in a place that's seemingly so bleak. And if you're lucky, you start to find beauty and joy and art in the terror of looking deeper into yourself. There's a lot there, and it's not meant to be faced all at once. It's a slow descent, but that doesn't mean you're being dragged down. I don't know. There's some sense of security in hitting rock bottom. Because then that even if it's not as shallow as you expected it to be, there is still a bottom. And it's always possible that there's a bottom beneath that bottom. But this is the bottom you met first. And there's kind of an odd comfort in that. What kind of harvest will I foster? What kind of oasis will be stumbled upon in all the desert mirages? When I'm finally found and recognized for all that I am and everything I can be. What does that look like? What's there? I don't know. What it means, though, is already more than I could ever explain in words. And that says a lot, because I'm a linguist. I love language. I like to consider myself a master in English. The English language, I mean. I have a wide vocabulary, and it's one of my favorite parts about me. I have all these words to help me articulate an impossible to describe idea or feeling. And yet, no amount of words will ever bring another person to understand what they won't comprehend. My love requires comprehension. I think many people's do, but mine definitely does. I'm on this path of self-discovery after reaching a new rock bottom. Honestly, the rock bottom wasn't entirely unpleasant. That might be because the relationship I give to it, the relation I keep with my past, comes from a place of gratitude. And I'm afraid that saying that would suddenly diminish how true it really is. It's true. And the more I try to say, it's true, I swear it is, believe me, the more desperate it feels just trying to believe myself. That's one of my biggest fears. My God, that is such. I've always been afraid of not being believed in. And it's not something unfamiliar. It's not something I haven't encountered before. It must root from a place of rejection or abandonment or something. But I was becoming in denial of that fear. And it brought me to a place where I believed I could control it from affecting my life. And I found out that the method I was pursuing just made it easier for fear to run my life for me. Hmm. Fear of disbelief. Being faced with people who willingly misunderstand you in your time of need. It might be the most heartbreaking thing I've ever faced. And it might be the most heartbreaking thing that I will ever face. Or not. My point being, I want to distance myself as far away as possible from the version of me that let fear dictate my whole existence, my whole sense of being. I'm scared. I think everyone's a little or a lot bit more scared than any of us are willing to admit. Because brave is bold. Courage is cool. And it is, it really is. But I'm tired and scared. Today, that feeling will fleet. Tomorrow I could wake up pleasant, joyous to wake up to a world ripe for opportunity. The possibilities are so fast. It's impossible to be as consistent as I perceive it to be. It's nice to get lost in my words, in the sound of my own voice, instead of the voices. Not, I literally do sound crazy, but that's okay. Not literal voices. I don't hear voices. But the thoughts that don't determine who I am, which are basically all thoughts, because thoughts are just, I don't know how to simplify it anymore, but thoughts aren't you. Feelings aren't who we are, because they're fleeting. They don't last. Despite how hard we try to make it, they won't last, because feelings and thoughts are fleeting. Actions. Actions will always mean something. And actions require thought. Well-planned, strategic, scrutinizing thought. And of course, you could choose to be impulsive or compulsive or reactive and act with very little thought in mind. And, that's fine if that's who you are. I wish I was so brave to be a little bit more like that. Or maybe brave is the wrong word. Maybe wish is the wrong word. Sometimes I say things and speak words into existence that make more sense than any words I could ever think of. Sometimes my mouth knows exactly what to do before I can even consider it. And sometimes, a lot of the time, I get myself in trouble that way. I don't mind trouble. I don't mind causing trouble. Like, yeah, I feel guilty when it comes from a wrong place. And ashamed when my need for it is minimized and reduced to incessant drama, and you begin to realize the people you keep in your life is a reflection of your relationship with yourself. This entire time I've been denying, disbelieving myself of my own needs, depriving myself of my own action, living in my own emotions that I create, because yes, you may not be able to control every passing thought and feeling, but you can control your relationship to that. It's this whole thing you start to discover in therapy as time goes on. Cognitive distortions are pretty fucked. And life is unfair in the sense of the cards you're dealt in comparison with other people. That's why you never compare with other people. That's why your card's always held up, hiding from everybody else. Play the cards right for you. You may have similar cards to other people, but your deck is unique to you. And playing the game, you just learn the pattern and the strategy, the routine, the ritual, to the monotony of the cycles of the same old patterns. I'm hoping there's a secret in there. Some hidden treasure. Some nugget of knowledge that I can physically grab, which I know is only a fantasy, but the thought of it alone, I hope, brings peace. Fear of disbelief, rejection, abandonment. All of my biggest fears I have continually elicited, contrived, orchestrated, just for me to experience over and over again. The mind is a tricky thing. I'm befriending my mind. I'm befriending the pressure my mind is faced in relation to the competitive society we're living in. We live in a society. Yeah, that's the meme, right? I don't think it's thought about deeper enough. I understand if no one really wants to think that deep about something that's supposed to be silly, but I think that's kind of the whole point of jokes. See, my mouth just said something that I wouldn't be able to comprehend and articulate before understanding it. My mouth just said something that I believe to be true, but I didn't know that. Like in my headspace. That's the whole point of joy. That's the whole point of jokes. To be able to laugh at something deeply concerning and find the absurdity in it. And take it lightly. But not for granted. Absurd humor is like a comfortable pillow. To rest your head on. Let your neck and shoulders lose their tension. There's you can think of fear like a heavy-weighted blanket, and it may be a heated blanket as well, or just heavy-weighted. It's comfortable. It almost feels like it can imitate or maybe even release or what? Imitate or replicate the feeling of being held. Fear is kind of like a false protection. I'm more willing some days to lay in the comfort of my own familiar fears. And a lot of humans live most of their life that way, and that's all right. I'm willing to be more open to the discomfort of creating an impact beyond my comfort zone. I'm about to step into that power, and I'm not quite there yet, and I forgive myself for delaying and taking all the time I need, but this is something I know for a fact does not need to be rushed. Yes, the world is dying. The world has been dying since the day it was created. Yes, the world is getting fuller. That doesn't mean that the possibilities for every human is shrinking or becoming less available to the large scale of people. It just means that a lot more change is coming, and there are a lot more roles as a catalyst to play. And the amount of people in the world reflects just how much change needs to happen. Every single person will be a catalyst to change in their own impossibly specific way. All they need to do is be themselves to do it, which seems to be the trickier part. All the bravest people face the most rejection. All the historically iconic movers and shakers were met with so much ferocity because what? We lived in fear. I'm not gonna survive anymore just to fit in with people. I've been doing that my whole life. Yes, my life hasn't been very long. Yes, I have advantages that many other people don't have. Yes, I have disadvantages just the same. I am alive. I have a body, and it's mine, and I own it. And as an adult, that means like everything. I used to be insecure about my body, and some days I still do get insecure. But I think my body was my first love. And it brings me a lot of joy and hope to think about it that way. You know, growing up, I was always too skinny. Why don't you eat enough? All my relatives are like, well, who's feeding you? You're not gonna get more on your plate. No, auntie. I'm gonna finish this plate and probably get seconds. Probably just get desserts. Thanks for your concern. I I like my body. Some days I love it. Well, I suppose I have love for my body always, but that doesn't mean that I always love my body. I found ways to appreciate every single part of me. My throat is the home to my voice. My lungs are the home to my air. My eyes are the windows to the soul. My skull and head is the home to my brain. My ears kind of remind me of like a snail shell, just in the way that it kind of spirals. And I listen with them. That's enough of a reason to appreciate it for. Ooh, my belly. It digests food, and food is tasty. Sometimes it's more responsibility than I would like to take on, but food is tasty. I'll never say no to food unless I like seriously don't want it, like that kind of food, or just straight up don't want to eat, because that happens a lot. But if there is food on the table, on a plate, nice and warm and steamy, I'm not gonna say no. I mean, I'm spoiled, so I expect that in the first place. Why would I say no to that? Because at that point, it's not even about how it tastes. I don't know. I don't know any other word to describe it with, but with love. When I make myself food, I like to prepare easy, simple meals. with only the best nutrition for me. I like high protein, fatty foods. I do like my carbs, but I'm being cautious about that. Um, Fiber, all the good nooch. I feel good about what I use to fuel my body with. And that might have been the integral step I needed to take to win over my insecurities. I used to have these knobby knees, chicken legs, stick thin thighs or ankles or something. I used to think my neck was too wide for the rest of my body. I used to think my head was too small for the rest of my body, that my feet were too big for the rest of my body. My hands were too long and grandma looking for the rest of my body. Then society got an upgrade. And then I believed that my butt was too small despite the rest of my body. My boobs were too small despite the rest of my body. My waist might have been like the best part about that. And I realized, yeah, I have long legs. That's really nice, but I just generally don't like the shape of them. And then eventually I evolved. Now I'm in a place where my body, it's not some art installation, but it very much well could be. I like how it moves with me, changes as I do. It's literally the shape of me. With every bend of my knee, I took a little extra time to appreciate my body today. I dyed my hair, or re-dyed my hair. And I thought it was going to be a lot more strawberry blondish looking, but it kind of just went back to the nice blonde that I like it as. But I was a little surprised that it wouldn't be like on the edge of being coral. Hair has always been impermanent to me. I was one of those little Asian kids that tried to cut their own bangs, and then the next day they walked around the world with a bowl cut. A choppy one at that. I think I just remember that because I had a YMCA picture. I think she was cute as frick. Now, at least. Back then I would be hypercritical because I could be. Yeah, I mean, I do think I would like to have more thighs. Thighs save lives, and if I have more thigh, then I save even more of my life. Unless it means other lives, in which case I don't really care much. I would possibly like buffer calves. They've lost some definition. Overall, my whole legs have lost a lot of their tone. And, a lot of their muscle mass that I gained from dance. I fucking love dance. dance was like the catalyst to me finding a home in my own body, being safe to extend my limbs in a way that felt like art. And it was performing arts. That's exactly what it is. You know, my relationship to my body. Obviously, it's important to me. It's important to a lot of people, I think. I like all these accessories for how they move with me the way I do. It's like material comfort, holding my hand or my earlobe or my waist or my ankle or my wrist. Just holding me. I think that's all the material security I really desire. Feeling held by everything I put on my body. That includes clothes. And oh my god, fashion. I mean, it only accentuates the love and sensuality that I keep for my body. Even when I believe I have no reason to be happy one day, I still have my body, and that's something I'll never lose until death. Yeah, I may lose control of how it looks or how it's perceived, but that doesn't change the fact that it's mine to own, mine to please, mine to feed. Mine to connect with. Yeah, I think I am a pretty possessive person. I would never want to compromise anything I hold sacred just to get somewhere farther away from me. I don't know, man. This is a deep thinking thing, and once you go a little bit too deep, there's just no direction at all. So I think I'm gonna let go of this train of thought and move on to uh what was it again? We were talking about fears because we were talking about love. So I started talking about my body and how I love my body. I will never ever like feet. Just the concept of feet. Just the fact that they exist as feet. The word feet. I mean, it's better than the word spine. Like, I can appreciate my spine. I love my posture, my back, how I hold myself up high. I hate it individually. I hate parts of the body individually. I do. I really do. Like, yeah, they serve a greater purpose. Blah 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 blah. It's disturbing. Get your smooth brain away from me. What am I saying? talking. Am I talking or am I speaking? Am I saying yes, yes, no, yes? Okay, the difference I see between speaking, saying, and talking. Talking is a load of bullshit. It's a bunch of pleasantry to, I don't know, maintain respect. It's another tool we use in the world of society and contrived being it's just bullshit. It's kind of exhausting. Often is necessary. Doesn't change the fact that it's bullshit. Um Saying, I feel like, is the easiest next step to step up into. Saying. Well, you know the word, the phrase, like, oh, that's a saying. What's your favorite saying? Oh, these are some sayings. You know, you can bring the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. That's a saying. I feel like I do a lot of sayings. It makes sense. And then there's speaking. Talking is just spouting off words, probably to hear your own voice. Especially if you're talking to someone as opposed to talking with someone. Speaking is a little bit closer to what speaking with someone is trying to be. Speaking. For me, that word radiates so much intent in just 5 letters of their root word alone. Speak. That's where a conversation begins. With a speaker and a listener. That's where discussion. That's where thought emerges. I don't know. Speaking of simple plans or grand ideas, philosophical, existential, whatevers. Speaking is, I think, what podcasts do. They're not just talking to each other. I mean, they may be talking with each other, about each other. Sometimes they are saying. Sometimes they talk a lot just to say nothing. The ones I hope to absorb, consume, and recreate for myself are the ones that speak and say. Speak ideas, speak change, speak discussion. Say the truth. Speak the truth. Say your fears and let them be nothing more than the words that you have once spoke. There's power in voicing the things we don't like to admit. That makes sense now. Religion, I mean. You know, at least the confession part. confessions. I don't know. I might go to a church just to confess, and I don't even like to believe in gods all that much. I mean, I like to believe in Greek gods, Egyptian mythology as more of a occult fantasy learning subject rather than a system of belief. But everything I do believe in isn't too far off from those ancient mythologies. Yeah, I do believe in death. There's something I like about it. The fact that it's the only certain thing about life. Except that in order to be alive, you have to be born. And I think of death very similar to being rebirthed. Similar, not the same though. Death is comforting in the same way hitting rock bottom is. You know there's an end. You can reach it. You can almost touch it. And you can walk away from it and continue living again. Sure, how you die, when you die, where you die will probably be like uncertain, impossible to guess. That might actually be a fun game. Someone should make that into I might make that into a game. Contemplating death. I seriously can't take this shallow bullshit with shallow bullshitters any longer. I don't really like talking about people. It's kind of just an ugly force of habit that I started taking on. It's like codependency, which isn't very wrong, but it takes away from the fuller power I have that I haven't even had the chance to exercise. Or maybe I've had the chance, I just never took it. Taken it? Death. Yes, I believe in it. I believe in it as a deity. Every living thing in the world, no matter how good or bad or wrong or right, dies. A lot of the time, bad people are more remembered than the good people were. It's kind of exciting to be the villain. Thrilling. But you know, there's plot twists. Nothing's impossible. I don't know what changes I take will lead me to wherever I'm meant to be. But by the time I'm about to die, I think I'll have experienced everything I needed to. There's a fear that I might go my entire life as a blank slate. So, I rush toward every exciting opportunity I could ever be offered. And obviously that's part of it. I just coming to that stage of life where the things I choose to invest myself in are gaining more requirements. Like, I can't just play Minecraft for 48 hours straight and be happy anymore. Now, as an adult, I require meaning in the multiplicity of all that I do. What the fuck? Can we just acknowledge that I have questions starting with what the fuck? Back to belief systems. Fables. In these comic books called Fables, I think. They're about fables anyway. There's a hierarchy of powers beyond the mortal, mundane realm. Yeah, that's what this material reality world is to me. It's mundane and mortal. And there's a lot to love about it. And there's a lot to willingly acknowledge about it. Eventually there's some way to change it, but I'm not that far yet. In fables, there's a hierarchy of powers beyond the mortal, mundane world. And I believe in that. One of the powers is hope. Simply just hope. You could even look this up on the wiki fan page or whatever. I did. It was quite informative. There's also Mr. Rewrite. I don't know if that's exactly what his name is, but he's basically the unidentified entity that is capable of rewriting the stories of fables to be more or less graphic according to the demographic. That's why the Grimm Brothers version of Snow White can be bleak as hell and pretty disgusting, while the Disney version of Snow White can be shallow as hell and equally disgusting. Sorry, my opinions just kind of simplified it all. But I'm actually not sorry, because I saved a lot of breath trying to just be subjective. Fables can't just die. They can resurrect they can recover. Yes, it'll take time, but they don't just die. For as long as anyone believes in them. I'm gonna cry. Is this why I believe in fables so much? I'm afraid of believing. I'm afraid of not being believed. I'm so, like, kind of glad I got this on camera. I'm also a little bit embarrassed, but I'm not actually that embarrassed. That's just, shame trying to sneak its way in. But, my god, believing in something makes me feel so good. That's, like, the whole point, right? Shit. This religion shit is starting to make a little bit more sense, but I'm still not gonna be, uh, conventionally religious. Nah, I'm gonna continue believing in fables and the occult and, spiritual highness and death and the afterlife. If there is an afterlife, I mean. It's really just a concept. All of this is just a concept. Comfort concepts. Wow, I should name something that. Comfort concepts. Maybe that'll be the name of this episode. Can I edit it while recording? Oh my god, I can! Concept. Wait, comfort concepts. Notice how my entire thought process is in reversed order. Changes saved. There you go. Comfort concepts. Oh, what if I change my thumbnail to that? I despise, but I kind of love. I do that a lot. Like, the things that are most absurd and despicable are the things I kind of, like, love the most. The things that bring me the most joy. Just this is why I think I'm meant to be a villain. Like, honestly, I'm not here to wreck my own story. I'm here to wreck someone else's story while becoming my fuller self. And if I do happen to wreck many other people's stories, I mean, I would be sorry, but looks like I'm doing my job. Oh. I don't know, being a villain just makes wrongdoings a little bit funnier. A little, less heavy. Um, Notice how the heroes in stories hardly ever have that great of a sense of humor. Unless you can prove me wrong. In fact, this is an invitation to prove me wrong. Give me the top 3 protagonists in a story that are not only the hero of their story, but also, like, genuinely funny. 'Cause the way I see it, you can either be wholesome and morally pure, or you can be really fucking funny. Oh my god. Oh, oh, why does that? Mm, like yeah, it's great to be morally pure. That's, like, such a wonderful thing to strive for. Yes, I believe in that. As a collective world, that's something we can accomplish. But expecting any one individual to uphold the beliefs of a world that doesn't even follow their own rules? Come on now. That's fucked up. Let's get real with people. Quit manipulating people who haven't experienced as full of the same range. I don't even know how to explain. So I'm gonna stop trying to. Isn't that crazy? You can just stop doing things that take your energy away. Crazy. You can be wholesome. Morally wholesome hero. Or you can be really fucking funny. I mean, it's great to be funny. It really is. But it's also like I understand the argument for the need to be funny. There's just a certain way you can be funny so that you can be both wholesomely moral and hilarious. And that mode of humor does not get enough respect on its name. Actually, that might be exactly what dad jokes are. Oh my god, I unlocked the secrets of the of the humorous crisis. Dad jokes are like the nearly perfect balance between wholesome moral purity and being actually funny. I know, being actual funny is subjective, just like being morally pure is probably also subjective. These are concepts, people. Why are we looking so deep into it? We can just not do that. Fine, okay, Reina, let's just do whatever you want to do. Okay. So, beliefs. The fact that my belief in a fable alone could be the difference between them dying out or them remaining a legend. There's power in that. I can't even deny it. How am I supposed to deny that? I'm not even asking you to deny it. I know you could, but like, don't do it, because that's disrespectful. And I respect your religion now that I have my own thing to believe in. Yeah, I've been full of it, to say the least. Full of myself and full of it. And I know. I'm aware. And I'm doing my best to distance myself from all the harm I caused by just choosing that way. Beliefs. That's also why I believe in fairies, okay? I believe in fairies. Yeah, the fuck I do. I got a fairy charm on my bracelet. I got a fairy keychain on my keys. Yeah, I think they're real. Yeah, I grew up watching Pixie Hollow and playing Pixie Hollow on online. You know that game? The virtual reality games? Yeah, that was my mode of escapism. It was pretty tight, very substantial for the time, but now they're all dying out. And uh, and I'm discovering new ways to release and express myself in creative energies that feed me in return. But some days I just want my fucking Pixie Hollow tree back. I want all the diamonds I spent money on and the cute ass caramel highlights I put on my fucking fairy. Like, pay the fuck up. Where did that go? I want it back. This is what they mean when they say life's not fair. You don't get your fairies back. What? Yeah, I believe in fairies. I do believe in mermaids. I remember distinctly when I was younger, I watched a documentary about the possibility of mermaids existing in the deep sea and how they resemble more of a scaly walrus, um, and a terrifying creature of the deep sea than they do like Ariel, the Little Mermaid. Yeah, I believe in mermaids. And maybe I believe in mermaids specifically because they are not as humanoid as portrayed. I believe in things that are, I was gonna say subhuman, but come on now. I think the most subhuman you can get is like Jerry from Taco Bell. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Workers at Taco Bell, you deserve so much more respect. Let me think of a worse thing. Jerry, the proud internet incel boy. Not to mention he's like 40 something and like I don't know, just not capable of taking accountability for any part of his actions. Meet Jerry. This is subhuman. Now meet fairies, mermaids, death, grim reapers, um astrology. Fuck it. Yeah, I do believe in astrology, and everyone who has something to say about it, why don't you go face the truth within yourself before you try to conquer mine? Okay, bud? All right, bud. There's something you're denying. And I'm not gonna be your target just so you can avoid your own shit. I've been there. I've been on both sides of that spectrum. I respect your journey, but I'm not gonna be a part of this. Nah. I gotta go feed my rabbits some snails. I gotta go take my elf out on a walk. I gotta go take my I gotta let my hope out of its cage for its morning walk. I got one more. Just let me think for a minute. Let me go pray to the moon real quick. It's funny because that's actually entirely true. I pray to planets. Fuck yeah. Visible planets. Planets I'll probably never see. Oh, nah, I probably don't. I really just pray to the moon, to be honest. Because, like, that's really my ruling planet. I'm a Cancer, in case you couldn't tell. I'm also a Capricorn. I don't remember. Does that also have something to do with moon? I feel like it might. I know it's an earth sign, but like. Oh, it's because my moon sign is in Capricorn. And so is my rising. Uh, um, yeah, I believe in astrology. I believe it opens me up to more subjective possibilities than anything I could comprehend alone. I believe in planets as though they're deities. They are bodies. They are being. They're alive. I think the Earth is alive. I think a lot of people think the Earth is alive, and I think a lot of people actively deny that they know that the Earth is alive, and that's the only reason we are where we are today. Or at least that's the thought I'm comforting myself with. Uh, the Earth is don't tell her. You don't tell her I said this. The Earth is kind of a crazy bitch. She's like, I don't know, people like tell me she's grounded and shit and like down to earth, but she's like out here like shaking. She's like shaking her ass. And every time she shakes her ass, buildings collapse, plates shift, destruction takes place, and she's just out here shaking her ass. You know, there's kind of power in that. Like, look at all that destruction that just happened naturally because the Earth wanted to shake her ass. Go Earth. I mean, like, rest in rest in peace to those people. But I'm different. Like, I hate it, but that's exactly true and correct. It's cringy, but you know, cliches are cringy and yet real for good reason. Um, the most fantastical thing you could ever do in a storyline is stray from the cliche. It's the most fantastical thing you could ever do. It's also the most impossible, and it's also probably the most human thing you could do to an idea. Take the cliche out of it and keep it just as interesting. That's an incredible feat. And each person has their own form of entertainment that does exactly that for them. And I don't really feel the need to share mine anymore. I don't know. I found no I found that reserving what I personally enjoy. I don't know. Like, I don't need to keep it a secret from other people. But if it's not a page of my book that they're willing to read, then I won't read it to them anymore. And I know the pages that I am willing to read will shrink as I get older. And it's only going to begin with the things that bring me joy. Because there's a lot of people, a lot of bullshitters that don't simply understand the meaning of the things that bring you joy and find it incredibly easy to discount the quality of it for the sake of being right or correct. And, you know, I guess that's great, but you're forgetting that you're a human and that I am too, and that I have feelings, and this world is tough, and you're only making it tougher. Mm. Beliefs. Planets. They're alive. I think aliens exist, and it's possible that the planets have been aliens all along. Have I can't be the only one who's ever considered that. That's like that would be far too strange for possible. What if planets are the aliens? Consider that, bub. Consider the idea that the Earth we're living on now is an alien being. Not so inconsequential now. Huh? Yeah, I'm talking about your decisions. What were you saying about how your decisions or how a company's decisions doesn't affect I don't know. Bruh, like I would like to critique, scrutinize, and criticize everything wrong with the material world that we have constructed, but mm, no. Just nah. Just nah. Me with my Justin Bieber hair flip. Also, I found it a lot nicer to like just split my hair down the middle and then leave a little bit of front bang out in the center. I don't know, sometimes, somehow, sometimes. Beliefs. Yeah, I believe in routine and ritual and sacrifice. I can sacrifice my time and energy for the sake of a ritual, for my greater good, for long-term success. It's not as culty and religious as the words lead you to believe. But, you know, the intent is all the same. I wonder though, would a greater sacrifice, like goat's blood, affect my results? Bruh. Mm. Cults are terrifying because they get a whole bunch of people to believe in a concept that not only isn't factual, I mean, what belief concept is factual to be completely real? The closest thing I could get was planets. Oh, and the body. Yeah, that's about it. Cults are terrifying. They just create beliefs and then get people to believe it. Like, wow, that's so powerful. What are you doing with that power? Oh, you know, spending money or creating blockbuster movie films. Um, Shrinking and rotting the minds of all of our followers. I don't know. I don't know. I want to like start a healthy cult. Can we start a healthy cult? Is that a thing that we can do? Is that just what religion is? Because I don't even think that's a healthy cult. I'm scared. I don't know what a healthy cult. There's no healthy model for cults. The closest thing I can think of is like a coven, you know, for witches. Beliefs. Math may have made some points with all these numbers and shit. I'm starting to believe in numbers and numerology. and the patterns behind these numbers more and more every day. I don't know, like, I hardly know what to make of it. I just believe in it, that it means something. I do. I see numbers and it just makes me wanna hope. And that's freaking weird, but, like, I love it. My logical brain wants to reject everything that makes me feel good, and I tire myself out. I believe in words, speaking, saying, not so much talking, but I understand that it's, a large part of reality, just like the material society we live in. I understand it's part of reality, and I'm willing to conform somewhat to that, but that doesn't mean I believe in it. That doesn't mean I believe it is good or healthy or right or correct. I just understand that it's a concrete part of our reality at this point. We can try our best to deconstruct it from the inside out. Um, and it's gonna take all we've got to do just that. And until I meet more of the right people, I don't think I have the energy in me to sacrifice myself to a cause so great. So until then, I'm just gonna continue sacrificing for myself. That's the best thing any of us can do. And at some point later in our lives, a greater purpose will discover us. And I'm gonna follow wherever it takes me. Beliefs. People change. Why can't our own systems change with it? And I don't mean the same kinds of change. I mean a different change, a new change, an unfamiliar change, an uncertain change. I understand that it's incomprehensible, that we've made ourselves so familiar with the fear and the value we've given to material things. And I want us as a whole collective race to understand that we gave our power away. And that's all right because we aren't powerless, but we've gave enough power away to believe that we are powerless. And that alone is too much. There is something incredibly wrong with this world, and we are the only species that can take responsibility and accountability for what we do next. And I'm terrified for that. I'm so scared. Adulthood means that I willingly take part in that. I want to be alive. I want to experience everything living has to offer. But I will have to sacrifice a lot of energy just so I can keep hold of everything I value most. I'm not afraid of death, and I'm only a little bit afraid of failing despite giving it my all. I'm most afraid of the possibility that I'll accomplish everything I could ever hope, and by doing so, everything that made sense simply will be let go of. I know that's what we need to do, and I'm terrified because that's what we need to do. We don't need to do it now. I I'm looking into the grand scheme of things. Every now and then, getting carried away with that can either bring me lasting peace or something else that I don't really want to take. I'm going to give the world my best, the very best that I've got, because I know it's waiting for me. This world needs me. The world doesn't need to know it. I don't even know. I don't even have to know it, but I'm gonna choose to believe it. I think that's what will get me to who I want to be. And yeah, maybe that'll change too. But I can only hope it will change for the best reasons. Beliefs. I believe in the world, and the world will let me down, as it has done before, and I will forgive the world. And the world may not forgive me, 'cause life is unfair, but I'll forgive the world, and I'll forgive me for them. Maybe something true will come of that. Something beyond perception, something tangible, yet not entirely material. Organic, natural. Whether it be crystals or fruit or water or air. Honestly, I think I just live my ideal mind life in the world of Avatar: The Last Airbender. I mean, I know their society isn't perfect. And hey, we get technology like this and flashy things. We also get homes on mountaintops, clouds in the sky, and the next day it could be clear as day, or it could be raining, or it could be snowing. There's a lot of possibility out there, and not all of it is for me, but I'll experience as much of it as I can until I decide what is for me. I'm tired of being tired. I'm sick of being scared. And so I'm gonna do something silly and possibly foolish and possibly childish and possibly immature. Maybe it's villainous or morally corrupt. I'm gonna believe in whatever the fuck I want. 'Cause I can. That'll take me wherever I'll go. And I'll go somewhere. And that'll be significant. Because it's mine, just like my body. Beliefs. Believe in what you want. Believe in the truth. Believe in fantasy. Believe in cliches. Because honestly, they're all on different parts of the same spectrum of reality. So, fuck shit up. Start a riot. Shake your ass. Cause destruction. Or be a wholesome hero. Pure. That's tight as fuck and all. And I bet you've got some real good people in your life. Might I add, though, there's always a friend to be made. In the most hopeless situations. Whether it be a part of yourself, someone else, something imaginary. Befriend it. You don't have to serve it. You can surrender to it. Lean into it, embrace it. And yeah, it's a lot easier said than done. Fuck yeah, I'm so sorry for even telling you what to do. But if anyone ever gave me advice, well, this is the advice I would give in return. I hope you all, singular person, enjoyed listening today, whoever you might possibly be. I feel okay. I won't always be good, but I'll be okay. Experiencing my full range of emotions, expressing them in the ways that come naturally. I'm able to be, speak, and say however I need to, because this is my platform, and I'm lucky to have one other person listening. Even if you may not really be listening, you could be simply hearing me in the background. But I hope, maybe even subconsciously, that you'll pick up on something that'll resonate with you and take from it all you possibly can. These words are meant to serve us all. I don't know how to say goodnight or goodbye with a full sense of closure. But I do hope you will see me again. And won't you hope too? There's a lot to believe in. There's so fucking much to believe in. I believe it. This Valentine's Day, I will spend it with the love I have for my growth, for my body, for my world, for the planets, for my beliefs. I'll keep that love in mind. That love of mine is a guide I can trust. And whoever is listening, I believe you deserve that trust for yourself. All right. We're about to reach 155:20 mark. Like I said, numbers kind of mean a lot to me, so I don't want to end unless there's another repeating number. And we're at 55. We just passed 22. So we could go to 33, 44, or 55. And I kind of want to go to 55 because then it'll be 5555. It'll be 4 5s. Whew. There's like really no necessary point to it except for the fact that I believe in it. So, and we're so close, so might as well. Are you ready? I might do it off count. I'm kind of nervous. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Goodbye.